4-3. There is a video that is up online for Google Classroom for you people who are watching it, and it is 4-3B, but that is for the 6th period class. They did this part today, okay? We're going to do that part tomorrow, so ignore that video. You are doing this one. In addition to that, the homework that I am giving you, give me your homework sheet. The homework that I'm giving you, you people who have this already, on number 8, please change this 9 that is right here to an 8, okay? Yours already has that changed on there, should. You people, does it? Yeah. Yes? Okay, so this number 9 right here, it should be changed to an 8, okay? I try to make these come out as nice as possible, all right? So, this is long division, okay? You guys have done long division before in terms of, like, dividing numbers. This was, like, what you did before a calculator, right? We're going to do a problem like this, and then I'm going to show you problems that involve x's, okay? Doing this is very similar to doing this. So, when we start out long division and we are dividing, the first thing you look for is how many times will 2 go into 7, right? How many times will 2 go into 7? 3. Okay? 2 goes into 7 3 times, and then you multiply it back through. So 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6. Okay? And then you're going to subtract that, right? So I'm going to go ahead and flip this sign right here, and I'm going to subtract 6. Okay? It's important that you put that negative there because that's going to be important down below for when we do long division that way. So you said 1, and then you drop the 8 down, right? Now you ask yourself again. Exposure? Now you ask yourself again, what do you have to multiply by 2 to get 18? And that is 9. And then multiply 9 by 2 to get 18. And then I'm going to subtract it, right? I'm going to flip the sign and I'm going to subtract. And that will end up being 0. Yeah? Okay, now I drop the 4 down. So I have 0 and then 4. What do I have to multiply by 2 to get 4? 2. So I put 2 up here. Okay? 2 times 2 is 4. And then I subtract that. Am I going too fast? No. No? Okay. That ends up being 0, and then I drop the 9 down. What do I have to multiply by 2 to get 9? Wait, what? I heard somebody say 8. 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And then I subtract that. And I get 1. And then I drop the 3 down. And how many times does 2 go into 13? 6. And I multiply that back through, and that is 12. And then I subtract 12, and I get 1. And does 2 go into 1? No. So, you could keep going and doing decimals. We are not. I'm going to write the answer as 1 over 2. Okay? So, it is 39,000. That's going to look funny. It is 39,246 and a half. Yes? Okay? I'm writing it like this because in your answer, down below here, when we do it long division this way, it's going to look similar to that, okay? That's how your answer is going to look, okay? Now, before we start doing those things, okay, we're going to do an easy one. Example 1. This does not require that you do it like this, okay? You can do these just by thinking, okay? You can do these just by thinking. When you're dividing by a monomial, which means one piece, when you're doing one piece division, it's a lot easier, okay? On the top, how many pieces is on the top? 3. 1, 2, 3, okay? I'm going to take each one of those 3 pieces and divide by the bottom. So looking at the numbers first, 6 divided by 3, what's that give you? 2. X to the 4th divided by x. What does that make? X to the 4th divided by x. X to the 3rd, you subtract, right? X, or y to the 3rd divided by y. Y to the 2nd, okay? And then I go with my next piece. So I start with 12. 12 divided by 3 is 4. X to the 3rd divided by x. X to the 2nd, y to the 2nd divided by y is a y. Okay, now, do not be one of those people who write it like this and forgets the plus sign in between. Don't, like, run your stuff together. It's like writing sentences without a period. Don't do that, okay? Now, the last piece, negative 18 divided by 3. Negative 6. X squared divided by x. X and y divided by y? Nothing. This is it. Okay? It makes it a lot easier when you're dividing by something that's one piece. You don't have to do this procedure, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay? Now, when you are doing this procedure with x's like this right here, you're going to set it up exactly the way you did here. Exactly the way. So, on the inside, I'm going to try to write this as close to the top as possible because I need some room to write down here. So, x squared plus 3x minus 40. If you have two different colors, this is a really, really good idea to have two different colors. So I'm setting that up just the way you would do if you just had numbers, right? We're dividing by 2. We're dividing by x minus 5. It goes like that, yes? Questions about setting that up?
Nope.
Okay, so you do the same process. Up here, we said, what do we multiply by 2 to get 7? Or how many times does 2 go into 7, yeah? You ask the same question over here. Step number 1. What to multiply? What do you multiply by x to get x squared? What do you have to multiply by x to get x squared? You're looking at this first piece and you're looking at that piece. What do you multiply by x to get x squared? What times x will give you x squared? Elizabeth kind of said it, I think. Is that what she said? X and x, yeah? X times x will give you x squared, yeah? Okay, it's kind of like dividing. X squared divided by x will give you x, right? That's what we're doing, is dividing. All right, and then when you're doing that whole procedure, you ignore the minus 5. Ignore the minus 5 until you distribute it back through. So, we said, what do you multiply by x to get x squared? It's an x, okay? Step number 2, you are going to distribute that value. So we're going to distribute that x back through. Like we did up here, we said, how many times does 2 go into 7? It's 3. Now we're going to take 3 times 2, which gave us 6. We're going to take x times x, which gives us x squared. Yeah? And now we incorporate the negative 5. So we took x times x, which was x squared. What's x times negative 5? Negative 5x. Okay? And then the third step, I'm going to write this in a different color. The third step, after we put 6 down, we subtracted the 6, right? This is the very, very, very most important step of the whole thing. If you do this wrong, you're screwed up. You're going to look at this piece that you just wrote down here and you're going to change the symbols for both. So, what was x squared before now becomes negative x squared because you're going to subtract it. What was negative 5x now becomes positive 5x. Yeah? Okay? So you're going to switch the signs. So step 3, switch, S-W-I-T-C-H, the signs. Switch the signs. Okay? And then I simplify. Step number 4, simplify and repeat. Simplify and repeat. So, x squared x squared minus x squared, what happens there? Nothing. It crosses out. If it does not, you did something wrong. That should cross out, okay? Then I have 3x plus 5x. What's that make? 8x. Okay? And then I'm going to drop down the negative 40. And then I start over again. So, start back at 1. What do I need to multiply by x to get 8x? Positive 8. 8 times x will give me 8x. Yeah? Now I distribute back through. 8 times x will give me 8x. What about 8 times negative 5? Negative 40. And then what do I do? Step number 3. Switch the symbols. Minus, plus. Negative 40 plus 40 is 0. That's what I want to have happen. That means I don't have a remainder. I like that. So what is the answer? X plus 8 is the answer when I've divided. Yes? Does that make sense? You're doing exactly the same procedure as what you did up over here, but now you have x's, okay? Don't rush through these. I gave you lots and lots of room. You have like 8 homework problems. 8 homework problems. Now, of your 8 homework problems, the top 4 involve doing this. Like example 1, you don't actually have to set it up. The bottom 4 involve doing this, where you actually have to set up the entire problem, yeah? Okay? We're going to do one more. We're going to skip example 4, and I'm going to change example 3 just a little bit, okay? We're going to do one more where you do have a remainder. You do have a remainder, okay? On your homework, I tell you on this bottom part which one has a remainder. Number 7, I tell you right here. This is your little clue. Number 7 has a remainder. So he's going to be different than all the other ones. What happens to? What happens to 5, 6, and 8? They should come out nicely. If they don't, you did it wrong, right? These 3 should come out nicely. 7 is going to be the one where you have a remainder, all right? I tell you that, okay? So we're going to do 1. We're going to practice 1 and show you what it looks like to have a remainder. I'm going to do example 3, but I'm going to change it. So looking at this problem right here, I'm going to change it just a little bit. You're going to divide by a minus 2, and I'm going to change this here in here. We're going to make it negative a to the 3rd power. Minus 2a squared minus 4a plus 9. We're going to do that. I'm going to change that ever so slightly, just a little bit, so we can deal with some things that we haven't done before. Okay?
Wait, now hold up. How are you able to flip? Are you like changing the entire problem, or how did you flip the a minus 2?
So what I did was, instead of dividing by 2 minus a, I switched those around to make that positive and that one negative, and then I made these negative.
Will it make any difference?
So are we not doing A, B, C?
We're not doing A, B, C, D, that part. I'm just
Coming
switching
back
the column all together.
for all.
No. So I'm changing that problem. I'm changing that problem a little bit. A, B, C, D is not gonna, it'll look similar to A, B, C, D, but whatever. A, B, C, D are your choices. So one of those is the answer, by the way. What is in the answer? Okay, so we are going to divide this, all right? I have him set up, ready to go. Again, if you have 2 different colors, it's a really good idea to have 2 different colors, okay? The first thing you do is say, what do you have to multiply by a to get negative a to the 3rd power? Negative a to the 2nd power, okay? Now I distribute back through. Step number 2, distribute that value. Negative a to the 2nd power times a is negative a to the 3rd power, yeah? And then what? Then distribute it through the 2. Negative a to the 2nd power times negative 2 is positive 2a squared, yeah? Okay, now, here's where you're going to get stuck. You have to flip your symbols. Right now, if you don't flip your symbols, it looks like this 2a squared is going to cancel out, right? Because one's positive, one's negative. But you didn't flip your symbols yet, so make sure you do that. This becomes a positive, this becomes a negative, okay? So now I add the a to the 3rd powers are going to cross out. If they don't, then I did it wrong, okay? How many a squareds do I have? A to the 2nd power. I have negative 2 minus another 2. Negative 4, a to the 2nd power. Okay? And then I drop minus 4a down. Okay? And then I start over again. Am I going too fast? No? What do I multiply by a to get negative 4a squared? Negative 4a. Now I multiply back through. Negative 4a times a is negative 4a squared. And then what? Do for the 2. Negative 4a times negative 2 plus 8a. Negative times negative makes a positive. And then what? Change the signs. Plus, minus. Okay? The 4a squared should cancel out. Negative 4a minus 8a. What will that make? Negative 12a. And then I drop my plus 9 down. Negative 12a plus 9. All right? Now, one more time through the 4 steps. What do you multiply by a to get negative 12a? Negative 12. Now distribute back through. Negative 12 times a, negative 12a. Negative 12 times negative 2, positive 24. And then, flip the symbols again. My 12a should cross out, okay? Do I end up with a remainder of 0? No. 9, positive 9 minus 24. What's that make? 15. Negative 15. Negative 15, okay? Now, to write my remainder, since I have negative 15 as a remainder, all you do is write minus 15 over a minus 2. That's why up here we did, since we had a remainder of 1, we put 1 over 2, right? Here we're just going to put negative 15 over a minus 2. And that is how you write your answer. Yeah? Does that make sense? Okay, that's what it looks like when you have a remainder. Not awful. My calc kids and trig kids are trained in their brains to say, oh my God, I hate long division. It's terrible. I hate long division. Well, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. It's just a repetitive process. Okay? Repetitive process. You're doing the same steps as what you did when you were dividing by 2 over there. Any questions? Okay, time for homework. So you already have the homework. I'm going to stop the video. Okay? You already have the homework.